I help me big and strong, for my la-la.
Is the tea ready yet?
Oh, yes, it should be. I gave it another 10 seconds to brew so we wouldn't lose any of the flavour.
Oh, we don't want to lose any flavour, do we, Dad?
No, certainly don't. I'm using the larger capacity tea bags, actually.
Oh, the bigger bags as advertised?
Yes, oh, yes. Well, the thing is, they are a little more expensive to start with, you know. Sorry, I forgot to put the water in. Hasn't been brewing at all.
Oh.
I'll give it a good shake around, anyway.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah. No, I'm using the, I nearly put the whistle in the pot and the pot top on the kettle.
Which wouldn't do at all. Because we want a cup of tea, Dad.
Yeah, sorry, Kate. No, I was saying that I'm using the larger capacity tea bags now.
Yeah.
Because they're a little more expensive, but it's worth it in the end, because when you've collected 100 labels, you send them into the firm and they send you back a plastic replica of a World Cup football player. And when you've got the whole team, you send that into the firm and they send you back a free tea bag.
Free tea bag?
Yeah, a gratis complimentary tea bag.
What a wonderful gesture in this materialistic age.
Well, it's a ray of hope, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, it certainly is. Sounds like a boon to the housewife.
Oh, it is, Pete.
Yeah, well, while you're doing all your ironing and brewing the tea about like that, I was reading this rather interesting article on women's liberation by Miss Germaine Greer.
Yeah.
Did you peruse the item aforesaid?
I did, as a matter of fact, yeah. I got about halfway through, then I had to nip off and check on my rice pudding.
Oh, your rice puddings are coming on a treat, actually.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's quite interesting about the subjugation of women throughout the ages, you know, how they've been dominated by the male.
Yeah.
You'd be mum, would you?
Oh, yes, certainly.
Thank you. Not too much milk.
No.
I like it quite strong.
Is that all right?
Yes, thank you. And I think Miss Greer, who is not an unintelligent woman,
No, I agree.
has raised a number of interesting and salient points.
She raised two on the cover that caught my attention.
I don't quite follow you, Dad. There was nothing written on the cover.
No, Pete, the points I was referring to were of a visual nature. Scarcely concealed by her peekaboo blouse.
That is merely being smutty, Dad.
Sorry.
You are doing precisely what Miss Greer and her cohorts object to, namely treating women purely as sexual objects.
Well, I wouldn't mind it the other way round.
I trust your last remark is in no way connected with your present position.
Not at all. Not in the slightest. I merely meant that I wouldn't mind being used as a sexual object by women, having them satiate their lusts upon my body.
But surely you'd rather be respected for your mind rather than your body.
No. Well, eventually, yes, but I'd like them to give my body a good going over first.
Yeah. Those scones ready yet?
Yeah, they should be, yeah. I think, you know, however, whatever Miss Greer says, that the lot of women has improved since Victorian times.
Oh, yes, undoubtedly.
I mean, in Victorian days, a woman's life was pure drudgery.
Yeah, exactly. Mind you, there are still countries in the world today, thank you, Dad, there are still countries in the world today where the woman is still completely dominated by the man.
Yeah, I'd like to go there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind popping across for a look, you know, purely as an observer of ethnic phenomena and things like that.
Oh, yes, I wouldn't like to take advantage
No,
of the
of course
situation.
not.
Right.
Take the Far East, for example.
Yeah.
There, the woman is treated as a mere beast of burden.
Yeah.
She has to walk 10 yards behind her husband.
Yeah.
The only time she's allowed to walk in front of her husband is in suspected minefields.
That's fair enough, though, isn't it?
I suppose so, yeah. Would you mind freshening up the pot a bit? This is a bit weak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In spite of the bigger bags as advertised.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a disappointing brew, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, anyway, continuing on this unusually fascinating tack, Pete, I think God, with his usual perspicacity, has made man the aggressor in the eternal war for sexes, you know. I mean, since primordial times, man has been the hunter. Where did I put those bloody tea bags?
They're in the second drawer, along with your hand cream.
Oh, thank you. You see, I think, quite honestly, that Miss Greer has overstated her case.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are certain advantages that women enjoy that we could never share in, you know. I mean, try as we might, Pete, we could never have a baby.
Well, try as we certainly won't, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not for us, the exquisite pleasure of a baby at our breast. Milk and 2 lumps as usual.
Yes, I agree, Dad, that man, being unable to perform this act of ultimate creativity, namely the making of a tiny baby, channels his mind through the realms of art and science. And whatever Miss Greer may say about equality, there's never been the female equivalent, say, of Beethoven.
Pianist extraordinaire.
Pianist extraordinaire, or Dr. Newton, for example, famed discoverer of gravity. I mean, Dad, was it mere coincidence that the apple just happened to fall on Dr. Newton's head? And he immediately said, aha, gravity. Now, research has shown that apples in that region have been falling on the heads of women for centuries. And all they managed to come up with are things like...
Blimey, there's another apple on my head.
Naive remarks of that kind. It took a man in the shape of Dr. Newton to say immediately, aha, gravity. Yes, a man.
A man, Homo sapiendi.
Yes. Ends.
Pardon?
Ends.
Ends what?
Sapiendi is a plural. There was only one Dr. Newton.
Oh, there certainly was, yes. A unique personality in the scientific world. Now, if I can add to this amazing argument, Pete, it wasn't Mrs. Archimedes who jumped out the bath shouting Eureka.
No, Mrs. Archimedes jumped into the bath saying, where's my husband?
A charming feminine gesture, but scientifically valueless.
Scientific value, Dad? Nil. And in the field of sport, for example, you won't find a woman running a 4-minute mile, will you?
Well, I don't know. Stella Newby was pretty close to that when I asked her for a kiss behind the wooden building.
This is not much of a tribute to you as the sexual aggressor. Hardly the stud, Dad.
No, wasn't a case of that at all. She suddenly remembered that she'd left her oven on. Proving conclusively, I think, Pete, that a woman's place is in the home.
Well, you may think that and I may think that, but in America, the whole women's liberation thing is being taken to absurd extremes. Ladies are actually going out into the streets and burning their brassieres.
I bet that hurts.
They take them off first, Dad. They're not complete bloody idiots. No, they regard the brassiere as a symbol of masculine enslavement.
Oh, it's silly, isn't it?
Oh, I think so.
I mean, I ask you, did we men force ladies into their brassieres?
No.
I ask you seriously, Pete, did we male force the female into their brassiere?
No.
I've been trying for years to get them out of them.
And who was it who invented the brassiere? For that matter, who was it who invented the artificial moustache? Einstein. No, it won't stick on.
No?
No. What I say is bung it. Lo and behold, Rudolph Valentino.
Who are you?
I'm a stranger, and I've been bugging you.
Oh.
Who was it who invented the brassiere for the benefit of ladies?
Who?
A man.
Oh, you might have known.
The celebrated German, Otto Titzling. Working away in Hamburg in 1810. First come up with Der Bustenunterhalter Gesellschaft. He jumped out of the bath shouting Wunderbar.
Marvellous.
And think of all the other wonderful things that men have been coming up with for ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the centuries. I mean, the kitchen stove.
Oh, a miracle.
The ironing board.
The chef d'oeuvre. And, of course, in recent years, the paper panty.
An enormous breakthrough.
Yeah. Man has invented the paper panty especially for ladies. You see, they're so economical. Because whereas in the past, Mrs. Woolley used to have to toil for hours and hours over her knickers in the sink.
Yeah.
Now, with paper panties, all she has to do of an evening is go over them with a rubber. It's all that stuff about erroneous zones, isn't it?
No. It's not erroneous, it's erogenous. Erroneous is where you go wrong.
That's where I go wrong.
Oh, you go wrong on the erogenous zones, do you?
Yeah.
Well, it's not surprising. I mean, there's so many of the bleeding things, aren't there?
The lady is peppered from head to foot with erogenous zones.
Have you seen this diagram?
Oh, there, look.
It's like a map of the underground.
Yeah. I mean, a man is very hard put to know where to start his sexual voyage.
Well, not the Northern Line.
Oh.
You end up in Crouch End.
You see, what may attract one lady... What may attract one lady may repel the other.
Well, this is the dilemma.
This is the eternal dilemma that has haunted man throughout the ages. You see, you could be spending 6 hours tickling her calves with a Japanese feather device, as advertised.
Yes.
When all she needs to get her going is your hot breath on her... Yeah. Her busty substances.
Her busty substances.
Her busty substances.
Yeah, I agree. You see, I think ladies having so many and varied erogenous zones about their person, I think the least they could do is to label them.
Yeah.
You know, just label them in order of preference. Then at least you can be certain of starting off on the right foot.
That's a daft place to start.
I was speaking metaphorically. I was not suggesting you go crawling round the floor at a sucking ladies' toes. Though, of course, that might turn them on in these freaky, degenerate days we live in.
Yeah.
Have a go, suck a toe. That might be the slogan for the salacious 70s.
Yeah, well, count me out, mate.
And me too. I'm off to the pub for a pint of beer. You coming?
No, I'm expecting a phone call from Stella Newby. She said, don't call me, I'll call you.
Oh, yes, I remember that. It was about 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, she's a very shy girl. She doesn't like to push herself forward,
No.
you know. Anyway, I've got a lot of ironing I'd like to catch up on.
Right, well, tidy up in general and put
Okay.
some more glue on my moustache, would you?
Righto, then.
Ta-ra.
I'll see you later. Ta-da. Marie!